It's so short. It's cute, but it's short.
Oh.
Who knows what it's going to be used for? Welcome to episode 9 of the Brooklyn Knitfolk podcast. My name is Jacqueline. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as @JacquelineSalem. I'm also on Pinterest, Twitter, although I don't really use it that much, but Instagram is probably the quickest way to find me or see what I'm up to on a day-to-day basis. I live in Brooklyn, New York City with a roommate and 2 cats. And this is a podcast about my crafty adventures, mostly knitting recently, sometimes quilting, as you'll see in a little bit, and just whatever kind of DIY projects I can get up to. So I hope you guys have had a really great couple of weeks. This is a bi-weekly podcast, by the way, if I didn't already say that. A great couple of weeks. I have had an exciting time planning new projects, finishing projects, which you'll see in a little bit, and kind of just dreaming up what I'm going to be doing next. So without further ado, I just want to say we are at 1,000 subscribers, well over actually. Thank you so much, you guys. I could not have imagined that this is what was going to happen when I started doing this. So I'm just incredibly grateful for all of your support and for all of the messages and things that you guys say with me, the interactions. Obviously I've said this a million times, I'll say it again, everybody has been very much with the love lately and gratitude, but I just have to add to that because I just can't tell you how much I love being a part of this community. So thank you so much. And to celebrate, we're going to do a 1,000 subscribers giveaway. There is a Ravelry group now, which I mentioned in the last episode, so if you haven't joined the Ravelry group, pause this right now, go join it, because that's where the giveaway is going to be, and you have to be a member of the Ravelry group. Normally, I don't really care if you're a subscriber or a follower to win giveaways that I do. I feel like if you want to follow me, then you want to follow me. If you don't, you don't, and that's fine. But since this is like a subscriber giveaway, I feel like it's only fair to give it to people who subscribe to the podcast. So if you're a subscriber on Ravelry, that will work for me. So let me show you some of the prizes. There's going to be 2. And let me just say, after making bags, I normally don't line my bags because they're just for me, so I don't, go all out and be too fancy with it. But after trying to make legit bags, I have an all new respect for bag makers. So every prize package, there'll be 2, will have one of these project bags. Has these little bird print on it. I thought it was relevant because there's lots of birds, lots of subscribers, and lined with just this white vine fabric drawstring. You get the idea. So there'll be 2 of those bags, and in each of those bags will be a skein of yarn. The first one is this Voolenvine yarns in the Stellar Banshee colorway. Isn't this gorgeous? It's like a creamy speckled with greens, purples, pinks, neons. It's just lovely. I got this at her most recent trunk show. There's going to be another one next weekend. We'll get to that. So this will be in the first bag. The second bag is going to have this skein of Puddle Jumper by Andre Sue Knits. Andy's lovely yarn. This one's DK, by the way. Didn't mention that. MCN. And this one's a fingering. And this one has, what was the content in this one? 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, 460 yards. So this one's kind of a cream color with flecks of neon greens, blues, and some oranges in it. So that will also be in there. The next thing I will be putting into the prize packages I didn't have this ready, but you guys, I'll show you in a little bit, but there are some stitch markers that have been very popular on the Instagram circuit that I've made. I have these little rubber creatures of unicorns and purple dragons and all these other things that I get from my local art supply store. So I'll be making a few stitch markers to put in there. So that, and then a couple of other like random bits and bobs surprises. So, to win, throwing things. To win one of these 2 prize packages, all you have to do is be a member of the Ravelry group and answer the prompt in the episode 9 thread. So you'll see. No chatter, please. I'll remind you guys in there, but just 1 entry per person. And if you have a question about something related to the podcast, you can just message me separately. So yay, 1,000 subscribers! Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. I could not, obviously, have done it without you. So a couple of podcasts I wanted to mention. I love hearing it when other people mention on their podcast other podcasters that they like, because it introduces me to new people. And these 2 were no exception to how I found out about them. So I definitely want to spread the word because I love their podcast. The first one is Pinfeathers and Purls with Candace. A lot of people have mentioned her recently, and there's no question as to why. Like, her projects are just beautiful. I love her aesthetic. Her personality also, she's kind of like geek nerd gamer type of girl, and that really speaks to me because that's how, I am as well. Her projects are just really, I don't know how else to say it other than I just really like her aesthetic. I like her color choices, I like the patterns that she picks, and I watched the first episode just to check it out, and I immediately binged watched the rest of them afterwards. That's how much I like them. Also, Hamilton, yes, Katie from Inside Number 23, and you, Candace, can we just all go see Hamilton together when one of us wins the lottery? Because tickets are like $500 a piece, which is crazy. But I enter the Hamilton lottery every day, literally like clockwork. My coworker and I, we set our alarms on our phones to enter the lottery for the Hamilton show every single day. And if you guys don't know what Hamilton is, it's a new Broadway musical taking Broadway by storm. It's kind of like a rap musical about American history. Hilarious, and yeah, it looks awesome. I've seen snippets, of course. You might have seen the little teaser about it on, I think it was at the Oscars? I didn't watch the Oscars, but I think it was on the Oscars. Anyway, Hamilton lottery, you can enter to win tickets for it, because that's the only way that I'm going to be able to afford them. So, yes. Can we go see Hamilton? Anyway, Candace, that's what I'm getting at here. But anyway, Pinfeathers and Purls, go watch it. Literally, it's like whenever it comes on, I want to watch it immediately. It's one of my new favorites. And the other one I want to mention was Get Lit and Knit with Allie and Abby. So far, it's only Abby that has appeared on the podcast except for like a bonus episode. They're both graduate students, one applying for law school and the other is in medical school. Their podcast, Abby is really funny. I just really like her attitude and her, I don't know, she doesn't mince words, I guess. Yeah, I like her personality a lot. It's another one that I watch every time I see it now. I just think she's really funny. I can't wait to see what swants she's making for the knitting Hunger Games that Melissa of the Spicy Homemaker podcast is organizing. I'm excited to see these swants that you're making. So go check those girls out if you haven't already. Subscribe. They're really great. And I also want to say a huge thank you and congratulations to Mina and Kristin of the Yarngasm podcast and Mina from the Knitting Expat Podcast for their 2 gorgeous new patterns that they've just released. Both of them have gifted me a copy of their patterns and I can't wait to make them. Kristin's is called Wildes Meer, which means wild sea, and Mina's is called Les Moelleux. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, and it translates as the squishy. So that one's a brioche shawl. Both of them are shawls, both gorgeous, and Mina has actually gifted the podcast a copy of her latest pattern, so I will be giving that away in a future giveaway. Not related to 1,000 subscribers, but just for something else in the future. So thank you guys both so much. I can't wait to make those, and congratulations on your amazing patterns, because they're beautiful. So the next thing I want to mention is the Fine and Dandy Kal. A lot of you guys have mentioned that you want to knit these socks with us, and I'm so excited. Amber from the Yarn Junkie podcast is co-hosting this knit along with me. The pattern design is by the Sweater Co. She has a few other patterns available too that are really pretty, but these socks, once I saw Laura from the Fawn Knits test knitting them, I was like, I need those socks in my life. And I've never made socks, although socks were kind of what got me into the game in the first place, the game being knitting. After watching the Junk Yarn podcast with Kemper, she knits a lot of socks, and I was just dying to make socks. That was like the first thing I wanted to make. So I guess you can't run before you can walk, so I made some other stuff first to kind of build up my skills, and now I feel confident that I'll be making these socks with greater ease than I would have if I took it on as my first project. So, Fine and Dandy socks. The knit along starts on March 17th, which is this week. Yes, this week. And goes through the end of April. So we wanted to give you plenty of time. It's a very relaxed knit along. I think both Amber and I are very, relaxed about this sort of thing. So no pressure to finish it on time. I know a lot of you guys are doing the box of socks Cal with Kristin, so it would make a great addition for your April box of socks if you want to make that. And yeah, I can't wait to make them. I think it's a gorgeous pair of socks. I'll insert a picture here so you can see what they look like, both a couple test knits that have already been knit up. So really excited to make those. Again, starts March 17th, and we hope you can join us. Also, reminds me, so last week I put out, hold on, I'm gonna pause, get a drink. Okay, sorry guys. Coffee's like my life force. I like tea, but iced coffee all year round. That's where it's at. Okay, as I was saying, last week I did a giveaway. 3 copies of the Fine and Dandy socks pattern by the Sweater Co. again. And the prompt to win the pattern was, what Harry Potter house are you sorted into? Man, you Hufflepuffs are crawling out of the freaking woodwork, you know? Man, all of your badgery woodwork. So I thought I would do a little bit of stats, some qualitative or quantitative analysis of the data that I received from this very small sample size, mind you. Gryffindor, 24%. Ravenclaw, 18%. Slytherin, 10%. Hufflepuffs, 39%. You guys there are a lot of Hufflepuff knitters out there. Oh, and 2% Muggles. I actually didn't add that up to make sure it equaled 100. I just rounded up. So if anyone's doing my math and it's wrong, let it go, okay? I'm not an accountant or math whiz or whatever. Anyway, 2% Muggle. 39% Hufflepuff though, you guys. Isn't that hilarious? I thought it was really funny. I think it says a lot about our community though. I don't know what that says about me. Slytherin for life. No shame. So like I said, Fine and Dandy socks pattern Cal kicks off March 17th, goes to the end of April. So that's that. So let's get on with the crafts, shall we? The first one. Dun, da, da, da. It's a finished sweater. You guys, this is so exciting. I hauled booty to get this thing done in time for this podcast. I'm gonna put it on so you guys can see what it looks like. Pattern is the Deschutes sweater by Norah Gaughan, made out of Cascade 220 in the Walnut Heathers colorway. Let me stand up, give you a better idea of how it fits. I knit it on worsted weight yarn. The pattern calls for Aran weight yarn. Boy, am I glad I did that. I did had some false starts with figuring out what pattern schematic to knit. I ended up knitting the largest size and it came out to the medium size because of the change in yarn weight. So I knit the largest pattern size for the body because I wanted it to have a lot of negative ease. That's just kind of, or positive ease. That's how I like my sweaters to fit. And then the sleeves the picture on the pattern, they had them kind of like loose, and I wanted, because I knew I wanted a lot of positive ease in the sweater, I wanted the sleeves to be more fitted so that I wasn't like drowning in it and it looked like it fit me. So I knit the second to the smallest size for the sleeve, and they did turn out a little long, but that's okay. The pattern also called for them to be 3/4 inch sleeves, 3/4 length sleeves, and so I knit them to be full size. And then it's knit in pieces. I seamed it all up. I'm sure there could be better ways. I was kind of franking piecing the smaller arm size with the larger thing, but I think it turned out okay. The one thing I will say that I'm not happy with is the neckband. I used the elastic bind off, and it's just kind of that the pattern calls for. And I almost wish I just did a regular one because it's just kind of floppy. So I'm not sure if I'll redo that. Oh, by the way, I got a haircut, in case you guys didn't already notice that. Yeah, it was like down to here. Alright, anyway, back to knitting. I'm not 100% in love with the neckline. So I don't know if I just need to knit more of it so it comes up more. I honestly almost liked it better when there was no ribbing on it and it was more like a boat neck style. Show you guys again, but yeah, it turned out exactly as I envisioned it being. Loose, I wear it with black jeans like I'm wearing now. I'm really excited about it. That being said, there are some things I did not like about it other than the neckband, and unfortunately, it's the yarn it's made out of. I thought it was just because I was working on this other shawl that uses Woolfolk yarn, which is incredibly soft, like the softest yarn I've ever touched. I thought it was just because I was working on that in tandem with this that was making this feel so scratchy, but it really is, I think, just that scratchy. And for a couple bucks max more per skein, I could have just used Quince, which I've already used, Quince & Co. yarn, and I think that the end result would have been much more to my personal liking. This isn't superwash, so it doesn't have, you know, any of that kind of softness added to it because of the superwash plasticky, I guess, coating that they put on the yarn, but yeah, it is a little bit itchy. That being said, I did only soak it with just some Dr. Bronner's soap to kind of like rinse it. It did bleed a lot too, which was surprising to me. I wasn't expecting that. But I think I maybe need to get like some lanolin or some wool wash or something that will make it softer. So if you guys have any recommendations on what I could use to soften this up a bit, that would be greatly appreciated. Although I don't really need it immediately because it looks like I finished this just in time for spring to get here. So I'm honestly going to take this off because it's extremely warm. So it'll be great for next year once I can figure out how to make it softer. But I'm not complaining about the weather being warmer either. But yeah, Deschutes sweater. For a first sweater, I think it turned out really well. So hopefully for people who are scared to knit sweaters because they haven't yet, this will inspire you. It's a great first sweater pattern. I recommend it. Yeah. Yay! Finished sweater. The next thing I have is a hoe! I don't know why I sang that. I think it's just because I really wanted to say I have a hoe. Mom, that's a half object, okay? Don't get your panties in a twist. The quilt top, you may recall, I didn't show this on my last episode, but a couple episodes ago, my grandmother gifted me a half-finished, or I guess a quarter-finished quilt, for that matter. She had done the embroidery of these squares, and then she gave me all of the fabrics separately, uncut, just the raw fabrics to use to cut up for the rest of it. And so I have finished the top. This is the top in its entirety. You guys see that? So I'm really excited about this. It's such a small quilt, honestly. It's like not even a twin size probably. such a small quilt that I think what I'm gonna do is hand quilt it. I've never hand quilted anything before, and I think it'll be nice, you know, just to work on like an heirloom piece like this that was also worked on by my grandmother who hand stitched this. So I think it's only fair to the object that it gets the same attention to detail. So lovely. Here is a close-up of some of the fabrics that are used. This polka dot, this peach, and then the backing. Honestly, this is my favorite fabric. Isn't this pretty? It's like peachy mod. I think this is gorgeous. So this is the backing fabric and the binding. We'll see how the binding goes. Usually I like pay someone else to do the binding. I don't know what it is. I just can't cut straight thin lines like that, which I'm probably going to regret also for the quilt I'm doing for my nephew, my upcoming nephew, because there's a lot of thin lines in that one. I don't know why I do this to myself, especially with quilts. I think it's because I've set the standard for myself with that 2-inch one that everything else, this seemed way too easy in comparison. You know, like I could probably have done this, obviously not the embroidered part, but the rest of it in a day if I had wanted to. But the other one took so long that everything else just seems like too easy. I don't know. That's stupid. It's really stupid. I just pick really difficult quilt projects. I don't know why. I'm just drawn to the really intricate ones. It is what it is. So yeah, hand quilting the rest of that. I'm not sure if I'll show you every single time I do that. I'll probably maybe show you in stages. So like when it's half done with the quilting or something, I'll show you maybe, so you guys aren't bored seeing that every time. Works in progress. So my first work in progress is my first ever sock. Isn't this so pretty? The yarn. The yarn is Cascade Yarns Heritage Paints, and the color is 9782. It's like this stripe-ish. I'm using it for my Stripey socks cowl, for the Stripey socks cowl that Candace is doing from Pinfeathers and Purls. This is purple flex with lighter purple and gold. And then yesterday I knit all of that. I turned the heel, knit the heel flap. I did an Eye of Partridge heel, which I really like. I decided to do that because I've seen them floating around and I really liked how it looked. The pattern I'm using is not really it's not one pattern. So because this was my first pair, of course getting to the heel flap and heel turn, I was a little bit, confused being my first one. So I used a combination of Kristin's from the Yarngasm podcast favorite socks pattern, and then the Hermione's Everyday Socks pattern uses the Eye of Partridge heel. I looked at videos on how to do the Eye of Partridge heel flap, so I did that first, but when I was doing the heel turn, that's when I was kind of confused from Kristin's pattern and needed Hermione's Everyday Socks pattern. So I've been kind of using them in tandem to figure it out, and now that I've gotten that, it's pretty much smooth sailing, just knitting straight till I get to the toe. This is an example of a stitch marker that I'm talking about. It might be hard to see on that, but this little purple dragon, that cute little guy. So yeah, I know these are controversial, but Laura from the Fawn Knits is already talking controversial shit talk about Addies. So I'm gonna talk about these 9-inch circulars, which I love. I bought some needles to do magic loop, and I don't know what it is. This is not my first time trying magic loop, or my first time attempting to knit socks. I cannot grasp magic loop yet for whatever reason. I really like DPNs and these 9-inch circulars. They make, seriously, the most perfect stitches. Look how tight and neat that fabric is. I don't know if you're going to get the detail on that, but hi, kitty. You want to say hi? This is Mika. She doesn't really come on the podcast too often. It's usually Jafar who's like roaming around, but she's really the more talkative one. She's also the heir of Slytherin, in case you guys haven't seen on Instagram. She can be quite feisty to people that she doesn't know, but she's just protective of me right? Yeah, she's a sweetheart to me. Maybe not to everyone else. Anyway, 9-inch circulars make seriously the most gorgeous stitches I've ever made. And I will say, like, I know that they are very small and some people just can't maneuver them. I do have kind of little hands, so I don't know if that makes any difference, but I really like them. You cannot try on the sock in progress with these on though. You have to like transfer some to DPNs or an extra needle. So I will say that about them, but yay, I'm so excited. It's almost a hoe. Hey, Mika, quit it. Here's the cake. This gorgeous cake. Also, I wanted to show you, because I don't know if I have before, my yarn bowl. It wasn't purchased to be a yarn bowl, but I bought it to use as that. Or it wasn't made to be a yarn bowl, but I purchased it to be one. I got this at some sort of renegade craft fair in Brooklyn. I know they come to larger cities, but I'm not sure what they all are. The cities are they go to. Alright, first socks. And then the last work in progress. Oh, I didn't mention. Sorry. I'm leaving out a lot of details, I feel, today. The needles are the 9-inch circulars, but they are size 2.25 millimeter US ones, Hayahayas. And I really like Hayahaya needles. I've been experimenting with a lot of different types. I was using Chiaogoos for my sweater. I've used Addies and I've used Hayahayas. In order, my favorite, Addies, without a doubt, my favorite. Hayahayas are like a really close second, and they're also half the price, so they're really affordable. And Chiaogoos are, I guess, in third place. I wouldn't say that I love them. I'm not clamoring to run out and buy more of them. The cable on it is just like really thick, and it's perfect for things like shawls, but if you're knitting like socks or something, to me, maybe the cable would be a lot lighter and thinner on the smaller needles. I'm not sure because I only have size 8 and 9s to compare, but to me the cable is just not very flexible compared to the Addies and the Hayahayas. So yeah, my personal taste, maybe not to yours. And last but certainly not least, you guys will probably be seeing this whip a lot because I don't want to work on it so much because I want to savor it. And that is my Woolfolk yarn void shawl. The shawl is a pattern designed by Melanie Berg. You can see that's where I was last time. Unicorn stitch marker. This yarn is everything. I just don't want this project to be over. There's the cake. Woolfolk yarn Far Base, which is their worsted in colorway number 2. And this yarn is not for everything, but it is for this shawl. It's just, it's wonderful. So I don't know if I'll just keep continuing to show this to you guys since I only work on it a few rows at a time just because I love it so much. It's just my, I don't know, it's my treat project. Void shawl, Melanie Berg. Alright. And then upcoming whips. So now that I finished the sweater, I only have 2 whips if you don't count the quilt. I really am not counting quilts. I'm just, what are you, Mr. Sass? I'm not counting the quilt as a whip. So I only have the socks that I cast on and my Woolfolk shawl. So I've cleared off my needles. So I am ready to take on more projects. So I've just been thinking about all the things I want to make now. Of course, the fine and dandy socks will be a thing. Let me show you the yarns I have picked out for that. So Katie from Inside Number 23 is doing the Harry Potter Cal. And I just couldn't take on more whips at the time when it first came out, but I thought it would be fun to make a Dolores Umbridge edition of the socks that I'm going to be doing for the Fine and Dandy Cal. So I'm going to be using that pattern, but using pink yarns in it. So this is the body of the sock. It has contrasting heels, cuffs, and toes if you so wish. This is Plymouth Yarn Dream Baby DK, It says it's DK, but I've compared it to other DKs in my stash, and to me that was like sport weight at best. I think I can get away with using that. But it's this very light pink with flecks of purple and yellow and pink in it. So that's what I'm using for the body. It is, because it's baby yarn, I think it does have acrylic in it. I think it's 50%. Yeah, 50% acrylic microfiber and 50% nylon. So I have this in my stash. I didn't know what I was going to use it for. I just saw it at the store and it was on sale and I liked it. So I thought it would be perfect for Dolores Umbridge socks. So that's going to be for the body. And then last week, Jenny from the Tiny Paper Foxes podcast, she was telling her and Devin, what? Okay. Her and Devin were raving about this falafel place that they both really like called Taim. And so we decided to go have a Pearl Soho and Taim date the other last weekend. And I got this. This is gonna be for the contrasting heels, cuffs, and toes. And my camera, I think, is blowing that out. But the closest thing I can compare it to, and it's not, it's like much more pink than that. I was gonna try to use this Mad Tosh Light of this neon peach, but I don't think I have. I looked up how much it takes for heels, cuffs, and toes, and I don't think I have enough of this. So I bought a skein of this to use instead. And it's like hot pinks, orange mixed together. It's a Chiaogoos painter's palette, I believe. Yeah, Chiaogoos painter's palette. And it is 100% wool, so there is no nylon in it, which probably isn't going to be the best for the heels. But you know what? It's okay. Just doing this for the fun of the Dolores Umbridge socks. So, those are going to be my fine and dandy socks choices. Excited about that. And then, all of the baby things. You guys, I cannot wait for my sister to have this baby. I have all these things I want to make for him. First and foremost, being a quilt. They've decided they want their nursery theme to be this woodlands theme, which I've told you, and I want to make stuffed animals of like little woodlands creatures like a fox and a raccoon and stuff. But I saw this pattern on Pinterest. I save a lot of quilt patterns on Pinterest just for future inspirations, and I'll put a picture of it here. I think that this pattern will be perfect for the fabrics that I want to use in it. It's going to have a mixture of printed fabrics and a mixture of like solids and small prints, so a mixture of larger prints and smaller prints. So I think that the variety of the sizes of the shapes in this pattern will be really perfect for the kinds of fabrics I want to use in this quilt. Because I didn't want to do just a square, which also I think was kind of the second best option. Just because I wanted to do something with more interest, but that's the pattern I'm going to use. I'm really excited. I'm going to be picking out like little woodland creatures fabrics and probably some polka dots, and I don't know. We'll see. I need to get on fabric.com and get on that because that's like my next big project, although it's only going to be like a twin or a crib quilt. So that one. Also I want to make, so I showed you the pictures of the stuffed animals that I want to make either last episode or the episode before, I can't remember for sure. But then I had a thought. So they have 3 cats, my sister and her husband. What if instead of making woodland creatures, I made stuffed animals that were their cats? Right? I think it's really funny, and I'm sure that they'll recognize it once they open it and see these 3 stuffed animal cats, not knitted, probably sewn with fabrics. They'll know right away when they open it what it is. So I was thinking maybe instead of doing all those woodland creatures, although I already bought the one for the fox, so I'll just make the fox too. It'll literally probably take a couple hours tops to make that. But making 3 stuffed animal cats. I think that would be funny. And then booties. These booties. Are they not the cutest? I didn't know it was a boy before when I first saw this pattern. I would have made him regardless, because I don't really care about gender norms. But these, if I have the time, I really want to make those too. This is a pattern by Quince & Company, and it came with a skein of yarn that I just randomly ordered for a present that I was using for my sister's scarf, the Guernsey wrap, back in the day. And I just serendipitously got that pattern. So that's gonna happen if I have time. And then, in addition to the quilt I'm making for my sister, I'm just really on a quilting bug right now. I can't get past it. And now that this one is basically done, the top at least, it's time for another one for myself. And I haven't picked out a pattern yet. All I know is that I want to do it in a bunch of neutral colors. That's all I have right now. So that is going to be happening probably starting around May sometime. And then, in addition to the quilts, other upcoming ideas, projects that I have, 3 shawls that I have in mind right now that I've just been really liking. I can't decide. The first one is the Raven's Nest Shawl by Judy Marples. And let me grab the yarn for that. Sorry. I don't know why I'm so disorganized today. It's this forest green Miss Babs yarn that I picked up when I was at home last. Hope that color is coming off as green as it looks on here. It is really dark, but I want to make the Raven's Nest Shawl out of this. Another one I want to make is Haiti by Isolde Teague. I'll put a picture in here because I haven't showed that one before. I think it's a really gorgeous shawl. Sarah from the Yarns at Yenhu podcast, she's the one that introduced me to it. So, because she's knitting it right now and did a giveaway for it, and when I saw it, I was just like, need that in my life. And I really want to try, to me, it just looks like the perfect yarn for Brooklyn tweed yarn. So that's what I have in my head for it. I know it's very divisive on people who like it or don't like it. I am, in the past, I feel like my gauge has loosened up since I've been knitting, but in the past, and when I first started, I was a fairly tight knitter, so it probably didn't sound like the yarn for me before. But I wonder if it might be now. I think it'd be. We'll see. But I just kind of have Brooklyn tweed yarn in my head for that. I just like the texture of it with this shawl pattern, so I think it'd be gorgeous. And the last one, of course, still Exploration Station. I just can't get it out of my head. And this is sort of getting into some stash enhancement here, some acquisitions. Gauge and Tension, my local yarn store of many, but the one that's technically closest to me, is closing. Sad, sad. It's like it's my favorite one too. The stock that Michelle Wong has is just incredible. Her connections to the yarn fibery knitting world are just amazing. So she was able to stock some really amazing dyers and high quality stuff in that store that you couldn't get anywhere else unless it was online. And online their updates would sell out so fast, etc., etc. So I'm really sad that it's closing, not just because of the stock, but also because it was just a really great space. It was really big, it was light and bright, airy, so I just really miss that store. But I did want to say, I'm not sure if Michelle Wong watches this, but thank you so much to Michelle for running an incredible shop, and I wish you all the best for your next endeavors, as I know you have probably tons up your sleeve. Anyway, that being said, I'm saying that being said a lot. I need to stop doing that. It's like my new, Anyway, last week we had a meetup with a bunch of knitters from podcasters in the New York area, and we went to Gauge and Tension for kind of a last hurrah, and I got this really gorgeous skein of skeiny dipping that I had been thinking about as a color to use in the Exploration Station, and I have my eye on some colors of Kristin's, of the Yarngasm and Voolenvine yarns colorways that I think would look really great with this. So this is kind of one that I bought ideally to use for Exploration Station. And it's kind of, what's the colorway called? Light Hearth, 100% superwash merino. 475 yards, so that's a pretty generous skein. So I bought that to use for Exploration Station. And then next weekend, Saturday the 19th, Kristin is having a trunk show at Do You Knit in New Jersey, and I will definitely be there. So I'm so excited to meet especially Chelsea and Sue from Legacy Knits. I cannot wait to meet you guys and to just have some fun and support my friend who's having this amazing trunk show. So if you are able to stop by, I hope that you will and come say hi to us, or knit with us, whatever you want to do. I'm sure it's going to be fun but crowded in there, and I can't wait to go. So with that, I think that is everything I wanted to talk about for today. If you guys have any questions for me or any suggestions again for the kind of lanolin or wool washes, something that will really soften up the sweater, that's something I have on my mind right now. Until then, I hope you guys have a really great rest of your weekend and a great 2 weeks until I see you next. Bye! Oh, go enter the giveaway on Ravelry. Go join the Ravelry group and enter the giveaway. Trust me, you do not want to miss this. Okay, bye guys.